2, 3. Hey, same order as before. That's fantastic. Welcome to episode 61, everybody, of the Newberg and Hannah podcast. I'm J. Chris Newberg. That is Hannah. And today I have one of my favorite musician guests on the planet, and a guy with a beard when longer is way cooler than mine.
Wow.
From the band The Eels, E is here, everybody. Yay.
Yay!
Thank you so much for doing the show.
Thanks for the beard compliment.
Yeah. When I saw it, I was like, that's a beard.
I had to get rid of it because I had surgery and they couldn't cut through it.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's how solid that beard was.
Yeah, it seemed like it was bulletproof from all the pictures.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, crazy. All right, I wrote down a million questions, and I might be nervous because I don't really give interviews to people who I'm huge fans of. So pardon the initial clunkiness, but here we go. All right, so I read that you said, in referring to your music, you said electroshock blues was like the phone call in the middle of the night that the world doesn't want to hear, and Daisies of the Galaxy is the hotel wake-up call that says, your lovely breakfast is ready. What phone call does the new Eels Time say?
That's your alarm clock going off in the middle of the night and saying, tick tock, time's almost up. Good luck, motherfucker.
Like, fuck, this again? This alarm again?
Yeah, you're being taunted by wake-up calls.
I know, my whole life.
That's crazy.
I mean, when you think about it, though, isn't life just a series of wake-up calls?
100%.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely. When I first saw the video for Time, I cried. I thought it was so connected. I thought it was one of the coolest things I've seen. And I not having done any research on the song or whatsoever, I would assume the first part of the video was pictures of you, pictures of your parents, and then it was pictures of you, and now pictures of your child. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That it's just such a great song.
We managed to cram in 3 entire lives in 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
It's done very well. It's
well, that credit goes to the director Gus Black.
Okay, it's wonderful.
Well, it was my idea, but couldn't have done it without him.
Did you write that song before or after your surgery?
I wrote it before, but I knew it was coming, and I am sure it was a big influence on the subject matter.
Yeah.
Was it you seemed like you're so good at plugging in at longing and heartache and sort of really make, I don't know, if you almost make emptiness relatable in a major key sort of way. Was it because it was the coming of the time's up motherfucker? Did it seem more real than some of the other stuff?
I mean, a lot of my stuff is autobiographical and a lot of my stuff isn't, but I understand why a listener would always assume most of it is, because some of it's just, made up characters. And my favorite way to tell a story is in the first person. I just think it's the most effective way to make a believable story, to say I did this and I did that. But a lot of times it's not me. Time is definitely me, and is definitely influenced by getting older. And I think it's true probably for any of us that get older at a certain point. When you're in your 20s, you're not thinking about time. You just, that's what the second verse of the song is about. It's like, I'm just riding down the tracks and I'll stop anywhere. I don't care. Let's go on an adventure. And you just feel invincible. And then you get to a certain age and you become acutely aware that, as Dick Van Dyke said in his autobiography, that you're circling the drain. You're closer to the end than the beginning, and you just become acutely aware that there's less time to you available in the future.
Did you write the lyrics first or the music first?
I think at the same time.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
It's just such a great standalone lyric. I mean, it could be just like an epic poem. It's just, I don't know. I really connected with it because I feel the exact same way.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Good luck, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'll get floaties when I get near the drain.
Yeah, smart. And Dick Van Dyke didn't think of that, but he must have floaties because he's still alive and he's like 100.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the second, I'd love to talk about Goldie. So you said, well, first, the connection of in the letter that you wrote, you were talking about when you recorded Time, you were in a situation where you got dog poop all over your hands, and there was a dog poop moment for you, and you said it was just did that have anything to do with the connection of Goldie, the goldfish, being about your dog?
I mean, life is a series of wake-up calls and feces on your hands. Really, let's face it. And then there's all the good stuff that keeps you interested in it. But I don't know how. I want to say all of us have had that dog poop moment where you don't realize there's a hole in the dog poop bag when you pick up your dog's poop. But I realize not everyone has. But it's happened to me more than once. So that's why I like.
Same.
Yeah, really? Okay, because maybe it has happened to everyone, but and it's a shitty feeling when you're far from home and there's nothing to clean your hand with except leaves, and then you're afraid of getting in trouble for like pulling leaves off someone's plant. Can't fucking win. But then you get home and you can like relax and wash your hands and get back to obsessing about how you don't have much time left.
Yeah, that's the positive stuff.
Yeah.
You're from Virginia, correct?
Yes.
Hannah,
we're from in Virginia.
Well, Virginia's a big state and has a lot of different parts, and I'm from kind of, in some ways, the least Virginia part of Virginia because it was the northern part, which is the Washington.
Well, I'm also from Northern Virginia.
Oh, where?
I grew up in Fauquier County.
In what county?
I grew up in Fauquier County.
Oh, Fauquier County. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm a Fairfax County man.
Yeah. My mom lives there now. I know the area a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm actually not a Fairfax County man. That's why I left. I was.
Yeah. No, I had to get out of there.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
No, me either.
Yeah.
And was there a culture shock from Virginia to going to, is it Los Feliz or Los Feliz?
Yeah. Well, I took a while to get to Los Feliz, but when I came to California, I was like 24, I think. It was massive culture shock because I lived in the same house, my whole life in the Virginia suburbs, other than going away to college. And then I drove across the country and it was insane. I didn't know a single person in LA, in California at all. And oh, here comes my dog now. Hold on. This was the inspiration behind Goldie.
Aww. Nice.
My dog Bundy.
Bundy, so cute.
He's really hungry right now. I'm sorry. But anyway, it was a massive culture shock and a really shitty life for like 3 years where I just worked a lot of jobs that I hated. And, and then it was like the weirdest miracle of miracles was I got a record deal.
Yeah. How long were you living in LA before that happened?
3 years, which isn't that bad, but it was miserable 3 years,
Yeah.
Was that the Man Called E record?
Yeah.
Okay. That's so cool. And then between your two records, that and Broken Toy Shop and the Eels was like, what, 3 years?
Something like that, probably 2 or 3 years.
And was it the same record company or different record companies?
Different record company because the first one dropped me. And so it was just starting over. And I never thought I'd get one record deal, let alone two. And since then, 3 or 4.
Right.
Yeah.
I had the secret to my happiness has been low expectations. I had very low expectations of myself. I didn't have any dream of music being my actual job. I knew it was the only thing I had a passion for, and maybe that's why it ended up working out, but I couldn't imagine that it would.
Yeah.
It's all just such a pleasant surprise.
So cool. And the Goldie song, your lyrics are so funny to me because when I first heard Goldie, before reading the letter that you sent, when you're talking about how the goldfish and the only fish in the sea, I thought that was hilarious. And I don't know if that was the intention of a goldfish thinking there's other fish in the sea, not only fish in the sea, I'm sorry. But that is just the concept of a goldfish in a goldfish bowl thinking, well, there's other fish in the sea, but here I am having never been in the sea.
Yeah. I know, what a cruel message. There's other fish in the sea, but not in this fucking bowl.
I laughed. I thought it was so great. That's awesome. I remember I've met you, like, I think when I first messaged you on Instagram, I met you several years ago. And I want to say it was in the 90s. Did you ever do one of the outdoor tour festivals like Lollapalooza or something like that on the second stage or one of those?
I'm amazed that we met because I'm a fan of yours. I think you're very funny.
Thank you.
I didn't know that we'd met.
It was brief. I mean, this was like 20 plus years ago. It was the shortest conversation. I want to say, and if you were either this is how bad my memory is. You were either working with Sophie B. Hawkins or you covered "Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover."
Yeah, we covered that.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And after the show, you were roaming around, and I just said, I'm a huge fan of Broken Toy Shop, and I'll never forget it. You go, oh, you're the guy who bought it.
Oh, you're that guy. I
Yeah.
remember you now. I remember you now. The guy who bought Broken Toy Shop. Yeah.
Yeah, but this was like 96, 97. So
Your beard was shorter.
yeah, there was no beard.
Yeah, okay.
I had hope. It was a bunch of stuff. You get it.
That explains it.
That's so cool. And then, and so you wrote Goldie with Tyson Ritter, and then
Yeah, and actually the whole lyrical concept was his idea originally, that it would be about a goldfish. I named it Goldie, but but I don't have a goldfish currently. I have had goldfish in my life, but I don't currently have one because I'm afraid my son's hamster would eat it. So I don't have one currently, but that was the only way I could get into singing about it, was thinking about my dog Bundy, who you just met.
And prior to meeting him, you'd never heard any All American Reject songs?
I don't know if I'd never heard them, but we were on DreamWorks at the same time. He's much younger than me, and their music wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
I probably even ran into him in the hallways at DreamWorks, but it just wasn't something I knew about. And it was just all these years later that he got in touch with me through managers, and he has a whole musical side that he sent me this song that he had written for a movie he was in as an actor, and he wanted me to sing on it, and it was really cool, and I really, it was up my alley, and I said, yeah, sure. And then we just ended up trying to write another song for the movie, and I was like, oh, I like this too much. Can I hijack this for the next Eels record? And he was like, yeah. And then we wrote like 5 songs altogether. And he's turned out to be a really great collaborator, and I hope I get to do more with him.
Yeah,
that's great. It's a great song. And the movie was it Prisoner's Daughter, right?
Yeah.
And did you broke a rib when he fake punched you?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I ended up doing a scene where this is the first time I've been on camera being beat up by one of my songwriting collaborators. So it's unusual. Yeah, well, I cracked a rib. I didn't tell anyone because you do like 20 takes, and there's no stunt man. I'm doing my own stunts, And
Right.
Each time he punches me, and I fly into a table in the Mexican restaurant that I'm supposed to be the Kate Beckinsale's boss in. And so I'd fly into this table, and one time I hit it like right on my rib, and I was like, oh, man, this really hurts, but I gotta keep going. And then I didn't tell anybody because I don't want to be like the difficult new guy, because I'm the guy who's there for one day,
Yeah.
I just drove. It was in Las Vegas, and I just drove home to LA the next day, with the seatbelt killing my rib, and I drove straight to the hospital and got an X-ray.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's method as fuck, my friend.
I'm method as fuck.
Yeah, that also would be a great name for an album. Method as fuck.
Or a band.
Yeah.
I love the line in Haunted Hero where you're like, I didn't become a hero without going through some shit. That's got to be autobiographical as well.
No, I don't. I hope I didn't mean it autobiographically. I wasn't calling myself a hero. I don't know what I was thinking in that. And it could have been just being around all the superhero shit that my son
That makes sense.
Stuff like that. I don't know. Or that I did a cameo in an Ant-Man movie. I had a brief scene acting with a real hero.
But I think for sure for people who have looked up to your music in some way, shape, or form, they could see you as a hero. And I'm sure to your son and, a lot of different people could take on that role just a little bit.
I mean, the last person that would think of me as a hero is my son. You know how that goes. I mean, kids.
Well, you need to start wearing the pillowcase cape more frequently at home.
Yeah, I'm not even at Captain Underpants level.
Okay, so your song, okay, Susan's House. Let me ask you a question. Was there any influence from like Diamonds on My Windshield or Ninth and Hennepin, like vibe from Tom Waits in that for that song? Are you a Tom Waits fan?
Yeah, that's a good question. At the time, I don't think so. I was just, it was just one of those things that just came about very organically where I was like, oh, I'll do this. I've been getting into some spoken word stuff at the time. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do like a spoken word travel log through the neighborhood. And then I want to break it up with a completely different contrasting instrumental moment. And that's just what I did. I don't know. I just kind of spilled out.
I just hear so many influences in your stuff, and I'm always wondering if I'm correct. Like I hear so many like Beach Boys, Pet Sounds for And You Run. Sounds like there's like a Pet Sounds.
Yeah, well, that's all credit to my childhood friend from Virginia, Sean Coleman, who I've known him so long that his older sister used to babysit me. And he lives in Dublin now, but I've known him so long also. He has a bunch of my old like demos, 4-track demo tapes that I made in my teens. And he'll occasionally send me one. And I feel like he's just kind of trying to razz me, like, listen to how terrible you were. That's my reaction. I was like, God, this stinks, And he found the one for And You Run, which I wrote when I was a teenager. And it was a real stinker because of my production. Like I was a teenager. I 4-track and in the 80s, and there was the production values were horrible, So I was like, this is terrible. And he's like, no, I think there's something here. I think this is a good song. And then he, unsolicited, a few days later, he sent me this beautiful, like Brian Wilson-esque version of it with him singing. And I was like, God, you're right. This is great. I'm just going to finish this up with you and let's put it on the album. And so, I guess I'll let him keep razzing me.
Yeah. Didn't he do some songs on Broken Toy Shop or?
Yeah. We co-wrote one on that one too. Yeah.
That's a long time
I try to work with him every 30 years.
Good. You're on pace.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you were okay? So two of my favorite songs back to back is Motherfucker and how like I Can't Believe It's True. Like how they're so different. Would you ever play those back to back at a concert just to watch people's head explode? I love them both. They're so they seem to be like totally different messages and both so sweet sounding. Surprisingly.
Yeah, hopefully they're different messages. I mean,
no, they're totally different messages, but like because you're like, I'm Motherfucker, you're like, it's just like, wow, this is the saddest I've ever felt in the entire world listening to a song. What a great song. And then it's just like, and I Can't Believe It's True. It's the song that people would like play in the room at a birthing or like at every wedding. And it's just
that's my hope. But I mean, if you wanted to look at the sad side of that, it's just reeking with low self-esteem.
Okay.
I can't believe anyone would love me.
Yeah. That's true, but it's in a major key, so it's hard for people to pick that up. Unless it's not a major key.
Good point.
I feel like those are the best sad songs though, when it's like it's a good upbeat type of melody, but
that's the Motown recipe. That's what I learned is the Motown recipe. Like a great example is Smokey Robinson, Tears of a Clown.
Yeah.
Which is, if you just hear the music, it's the happiest song you've ever heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you just read the lyrics, you'd be like, oh, this is a sad story.
Yeah.
You put the two together and it changes the meaning of the lyrics. To me, anyway. It then, like, if you read the lyrics without the music, it's like, oh, God, it's just pure sad. But then when you hear it with the music, it gives it this feeling like, oh, it's just life, it's you're gonna go through some sad shit, but you're gonna pull through. And that's like the magic of music.
Yeah.
Music and lyrics together.
I do the same thing. I have this song that I close with. It's and I tell all these jokes that are way too soon to tell, that are super dark, but I play it in a major key. So it's really confusing for the brain when I'm like, I say the most fucked up thing, and then it's like G. It's like, so it's
Interesting.
it's very fun. So who are your would you say are your main influences? Because I'm sure there's many.
There's a million. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I was someone when I was a kid in my teens and 20s who would just get obsessed with some artist of all different genres, but it would go like I'd want to hear everything by them. I'd look everything up. I'd read everything I could find about them, and I mean, I still do that to some degree, but it's just it was a long series of that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like pick. I could pick all the obvious big ones that guys my age would pick. But it's it's a boring answer. The Beatles, Bob Dylan and the Who and the Kinks and that kind of thing. And then Prince was the one thing in the 80s. The only there was two things that got me through the 80s because I was alive and trying to get through the 80s, and I really didn't like the music of the 80s, except Prince. Like I loved Prince, and thank God for the Replacements.
Oh yeah.
If it doesn't come from Minneapolis and it's in the 80s, I'm not interested.
Right. Did you ever get to see either one of them live?
I saw Prince several times, yeah, and among some of them were among the greatest, top 5 shows I ever saw in my life.
Wow.
I did go to a Replacements show in the 80s, like around when Pleased to Meet Me came out, with my friend Sean.
Okay.
In Charlottesville, Virginia. We were standing there. They were about to hit the stage, and Sean's girlfriend passed out and hit the floor.
Oh no.
And we had to go to the hospital.
Wow.
I did see them though. I saw them when the next album came out. Don't Tell a Soul, I think.
Okay.
At that point, it was right when I was new in town in LA, and I saw them at the Hollywood Palladium. I think that was like their last tour, probably, right?
I think so.
Or their reunion or whatever. But I also had the big thrill of Paul Westerberg came to an Eels show in Minneapolis.
Oh wow! Did he play with you?
What?
Did he just watch, or did he get up and play with y'all?
No, I didn't dare ask. He came backstage before the show, which is always like a nightmare in a way. I mean, it was super great to meet him and everything. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he came, and he had read my book. I couldn't believe that. And but then when they come back before the show, then you're just suddenly looking at your show under a different microscope through the whole night. You're like, oh, it's Paul Westerberg is here from the Replacements, and like he thinks this is too slick, he thinks this is too rehearsed, he thinks this, because we're not ramshackle and drunk and falling apart. Like the same thing happened when Jimmy Page came to an Eel show in London, came back before the show, and I'm not a great guitar player, and the whole show I'm just like, he hates this, he hates this.
Oh wow.
He thinks I'm terrible. He thinks I'm terrible.
And the funny part is he couldn't hear shit.
Well, it made it worse that when I met him, my guitarist Chet, I pointed out that Pete Townsend pointed out that I use the same pick as Jimmy Page.
Okay.
So I just want to confirm it, and I was like, "Hey, is this the pick you use?" And he confirmed it. And Chet steps in and goes, "Jimmy gets better results."
Oh my God.
Yeah, no shit. You think?
That's awesome and awful at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be a tour in 24 or 25?
I think most likely 24 is too soon because not even a year ago we were still on tour. Finally, after 4 years of not being able to during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Put 2 albums out during that time. And then it was like, oh, okay, we can finally go. Let's go. And now we have an album out, but it's like too soon. like one of your jokes.
Yeah. Way too soon.
Where's your favorite place to like go on tour?
I, tend to judge cities by the audience reactions and
Yeah.
how they make you feel in the venues sometimes, because that's almost all I see.
Yeah.
Places like Paris are always amazing. We do really good in London, even though it sort of has a reputation with a lot of bands that I have heard from that don't like it. And same with LA. LA has a bad reputation, but we always have a great time in LA. New York's always great. I mean, they're honestly like 99 out of 100 are good nights for us.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that we have bad nights.
And then what, obviously you were signed to DreamWorks. Is that how you had some songs in the Shrek movies?
Yeah, I think that helped on the first one.
Yeah.
Because they started by saying, well, what do we got in-house here? And they looked at their DreamWorks artists, and it's hard to appreciate now because it was so long ago. But they took me to a screening of it, and I loved it. I was really impressed by, especially how at the end it's not like the toad turns into a prince or whatever. It's like the princess turns ugly. And I think that's a great message,
Yeah.
It's hard to appreciate that now, but at the time it felt really groundbreaking, So
Yeah, I was just recently rewatching the Shrek movie. So then when I was listening to your music, I was like, oh, like this is why some of this sounds so familiar. I just rewatched the Shrek movie.
Yeah, well then we went on to do another song in the second one and 2 songs in the third one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I love that.
That's cool. Well, I don't want to keep a ton of your time, but are you ready for the rapid fire round?
So what's this consist of?
It's just research questions that I have and questions that I have of myself, basically about you, where no answer. Like it's a trivia question. It's a trivia.
I'm nervous about the rapid fire thing. I'm not good under pressure.
Oh no, I'll go slow. When I do rapid fire with her, sometimes it's 7 minutes and she's still on the first one.
Yeah, I take forever.
Okay, so it's totally fine. We'll go at your pace. I'll give you a sample question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What would you rather do? Be at Susan's house or a page in Jeannie's diary?
Oh, that's a toughie because they're both great places to be. Well, the page in Jeannie's diary is just a fantasy because I never was there. I never got there. And maybe it was a terrible place to be. So I'll go with Susan's house because that's a sure thing.
This is going to surprise you, but that is correct. Okay, you are 1 for 1. Are you ready for question number 2?
I'm ready.
The tiny piano pictured in the Time video, was that the same tiny piano used at the beginning of the recording of Novocaine?
No, it's not a tiny piano on Novocaine. It's a glockenspiel.
You are correct.
Amendment, I believe it's a blend of 2 glockenspiels.
That is also correct.
I'm on a roll.
Okay. Let's see. What was cooler, playing Lights with Steve Perry or having him sing It's a Motherfucker?
Having him sing It's a Motherfucker because I didn't grow up a Journey fan. And since knowing him and being friends with him, I have become one where like now instead of changing the station, I'll turn it up, and it was very fun and exciting to play Journey songs with him for the first time in front of an audience for him in whatever it was, 20 years or whatever. But hearing him sing a Eels song, that I wrote was, because I'm me, that was, I had to pick that one. Is that correct?
That is correct. That
Wow.
is correct.
I was sweating on that one.
You're doing great so far. I watched the video of the LA. There was there's like 4 or 5 different YouTube videos, and I saw the LA one. And my favorite thing about Steve is he is just born and he speaks fluent rock star. When he walks out on stage, he's like, I want to take a look at you. I want to take a look at you again. I haven't seen you in so long. Oh, you all look so good.
Yeah. He's a real everybody on the left, now everybody on the right kind of guy. Yeah.
Freeway, local freeway.
Yeah. How about that local sports team?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Are your songs messages for yourself?
Some of them, a lot of them. Yeah, I would say yeah. Am I wrong?
Hold on, Hannah. We're going to go to the judges. Is that correct?
I think we're gonna have to give that point to him. He is correct.
That's correct.
Sounds like that was a quick one.
Favorite pizza topping?
Wait, hold on. Here's my other dog, Manson.
Aw,
Bundy's sister.
hello.
Nice. Oh, Manson and Bundy. There's a theme.
Yeah.
I just got that.
Manson and Bundy. All right. If there were a third dog, what serial killer would
Hey,
that be
what
named
about
after?
what about pizza topping?
Well, I just
Oh, sorry. Another serial killer dog.
Yeah, if you're gonna have another serial killer dog,
It
what
would
would
not
it
be the Night Stalker. I think that's going too far.
be? Okay.
It has to be Dahmer.
Dahmer. That's correct. Favorite pizza topping?
If only one.
You can do two. You can do
Any.
5.
Okay, I mean, I know it's controversial, but I'm a big fan of the Hawaiian.
You're correct.
I know lots of people who hate them.
I used to hate pineapple on pizza until very recently, and now I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, the savory and the sweet. Come on.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, it's like life.
Especially put some barbecue sauce on top. It's game changer.
Wait, what? No, that's a barbecue chicken pizza.
But it's so good. Just got to do all of it.
Okay, that's a wrong answer.
All right, we've got just a handful left. What's your favorite song of yours?
Oh, there's a few in the catalog, so it's hard to pick one. You know, there's that cliche that the songs are the songwriter's children, and I don't want to upset the kids. I don't want to say like, oh, you know.
Don't want to make any of them jealous.
Yeah, I don't want to make like Novocaine for the Soul jealous because I said I love your sibling. I can't think of any of my song titles now, of course. I'm not a comedian. But I have to answer something.
Whatever you want.
Also, no answer is also correct.
Oh, okay, good. Then I got it. Nailed it.
All right, cool. That's perfect. When you were younger, did you ever have mail lying around the house from Einstein to your dad where you're like, Dad, another letter from Einstein?
That I don't remember happening, but there was a letter from Einstein to my dad
That's crazy.
that I've seen. Yeah, when my dad was like 13, no less.
Wow.
Yeah.
When this is a completely way out theory. This could be entirely like out there, or it could be accurate, and we're just figuring it now. Are you the E he makes reference to in MC Squared?
Well, I've thought about that because it adds up.
Yeah. It's so true.
Right?
So true.
Do the math.
If only I could. All right, last 2 questions. What was your official title on IMDb of your part in Ant-Man that would also be a cool name for an album?
Oh, I know this one because it took 2 days to film that scene, and I was in a trailer with my character's name on the door, Jogger with Dog.
That is correct. You are correct. You nailed it.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right, and final question. What is next for you, my friend?
Haven't I done enough? Get off my jock. God,
Sorry.
I'm exhausted. Can I just take a breath?
Of course. That would be correct also.
God, I mean, I'd like to get some lunch or something,
Yeah.
and then we'll see. Okay? I don't know.
Fair enough. That is a wonderful answer. Thank you so much.
Was it correct?
That's very correct.
That was very correct. It was very accurate.
I'd also like some lunch.
Yeah, lunch would be great.
All right.
And whenever I see those signs on the comedy clubs when a comedian dies, like "Make God laugh," I'm like, isn't he tired? Hasn't he done all that already? So I think this was wonderful. So thank you, E. Thank you for doing the show. Thank you for
Thanks, it was
talking
really
to
fun.
us. It was a lot of fun, and we sign off very simply by saying farewell.